residual. This is just a playback of time to me. That's nice. You know what I'm saying?
But do you consider that a haunting?
No, I try not to use the word haunting. I really don't. It's one thing I try to get away from. Haunting means they stay in that one location. I believe that these things can move around. They can follow you home. So I believe that they're visiting. So I call them visitations more than I do hauntings. Something, for an example, if I go into a residential home that's had activity in it, and they tell me, oh my gosh, I've seen this, and I've seen that fly over there off the shelf, and I've actually heard voices down the hallway and things like that. And they're presenting all these things that they've personally heard or felt or seen themselves, and I'm taking all that in. When I go into a location, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, does this thing have intelligence to it, or is it something of the past? Now, it's got movement to it, so that's going to be tricky enough. Is this thing's actually answering questions, talking to them, trying to get their attention? That shows a sign of intelligence. If it's something residual, it's something that's in the location, like, once again, ferric oxide, going back to the tape. Ferric oxide is a fancy word for rust, okay? How many homes and businesses, has got rust in it? It's everywhere. If you got metal, you got rust, So there's rust in older homes, older businesses, locations, older courthouses, even cemetery gates. Things like that has rust in it. So that can hold residual energy. It's non-intelligent. It's cool to look at, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I can look at holograms all day long and think, man, that's pretty cool how Walt Disney did them holograms, you know what I'm saying? Somebody dance around. But is it a ghost? No.
Well, it's kind of like a video.
Exactly,
Video
that's all
thing.
it is, a video. It's a natural video playback of nature. That's all it is. Something intelligent, that's where I start really starting to record, get the evidence down pat, actually start trying to document things, trying to make a communication with it, and I go from there when it comes to investigations. I'm real more interested in intelligent hauntings or in visitations or whatever somebody out there would want to call it. But like I say, when it comes to being haunted, I think that's one thing I think it's a methodical word we need to get away from, because we're finding out now that these things do follow you home. And I think I've actually had things follow me home before, be suspected of it. Have you had anything, Joe, follow you home on investigation?
Not that I'm aware of. Not at this point, anyway.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I agree with what you said there. As far as I do believe spirits will move around. We did an investigation last year at the location, and we had a little bit of paranormal activity. Well, the business owner thought sure that I was going to call the place haunted. And I think she was disappointed when I didn't, because she had experienced things. We caught evidence there. But I told her, I said, look, these things move around. Just because we've gotten activity here tonight doesn't mean that stays here. Doesn't mean that we come back 10, 15 more times, we're going to get activity again. So I won't call a place haunted or anything like that until I've been there several times and each time gotten activity.
All the times you all have been investigating places, I mean, I don't know, talking about percentage or what, but how often do you come out of there thinking that, there was something, as opposed to, we just debunked pretty much everything?
I don't recall ever coming out of a place and saying that it was haunted or there was activity. Most of the time, because you don't know if you've gotten anything until you go back and review the evidence.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, more times than not, I've left thinking we didn't get nothing tonight. And then get home and start reviewing the evidence, and you're like, wow, this is the greatest night ever. We got all kinds of stuff. But it's very few times has it been just the opposite, where I've left the place, oh man, that place was haunted, without reviewing the evidence.
Yeah. Oh, I got you.
So you got to remember too, we're going to places that people are telling us they're haunted. Okay, they've actually seen something. They'll come back and say, hey, listen to this, and let us listen to an EVP. So a lot of times we're not really walking into places saying, hey, Joe, I wonder if that outhouse over there, I wonder if it's haunted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless somebody has come to us and says, man, there's a ghost in there. And then we go in there and investigate. And most likely we'll find something. I mean, with the equipment we've got all kinds of stuff we can go in there with. But I believe that it is said, I do believe this, I believe it is said that a lot of investigators have to feel like if they don't catch something, that makes them less of an investigator.
That's something I'm curious about too, is how many times, I don't know, you all know a lot of other investigators or whatnot, but seems like people get into doing faking it. You know what I mean? To make themselves
We
credible.
just talking about that.
Stan and I were talking about that today. There's a, I won't mention names. I'm not that type of person. But there's a group right here in Kentucky that has been caught by two separate paranormal groups, staging evidence, creating evidence. And folks, when they do that, it destroys it for all of us.
Yeah, they want that good story to tell.
Yeah,
Well, it's for money purposes usually.
Well,
too.
yeah, that
Right,
too.
you
Yeah,
know, when you get groups like that, it ruins it for all of us. You
Yeah.
know, it makes it difficult for all of us, I should say. All it takes is for one bad group, and it's a reflection on all of us.
Well, that's, as far as going with groups, have you run into those situations with people yourselves that you've been with that you maybe like, I don't know, if they're taking it serious enough, or if they're wanting, you know what I mean? They're doing silly things.
I have never had a client actually stage anything or fake anything. Never have.
There's a few pieces of equipment that I carry around to make sure that they're not doing that. I carry camera detectors, make sure they're not filming me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to scare me, things like that. I watch. They can hide these cameras, small cameras, in bookcases and things like that. We've got technology now that any Joe can buy this stuff on the line.
Especially big places, because they want the tourism.
Right, exactly.
That's why I don't trust a lot of the bigger places, because they can.
Right. Well, it goes back to what I just said a minute ago. This particular group here in Kentucky that's staging everything, they just also happen to manage a pay-to-play haunted place.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah. And two groups have gone in there and caught them red-handed staging things. And
we usually in October call them haunted houses, right? That's basically
Yeah, these go all year long.
Yeah, this one goes all year long, and they claim it's legit paranormal activity. Well, they've been caught twice. Well, this same group investigated a particular location in eastern Kentucky. They have one of their members off in a distance. He's wearing modern-day clothing. He's in solid form, and they're swearing up and down he's an apparition.
Except jumping on a hill and stuff.
Yeah, so what good, I guess they're trying to make themselves look good in their own eyes, I guess.
And that don't help us out.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I mean, that's got to happen a lot, especially with TV having so much now, with ghost hunters and with paranormal state and all that. Everybody does want to have that story. They want
Everybody wants to be the next TV superstar.
They want the next haunted episode to be about them or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And to me, that's not what it's about. It's actually about helping people out. Educating them about the paranormal, opening them up to new ideas on certain things. And it's just, I don't know. This is something I tell everybody this. We're still at the paranormal stage, or not the paranormal, but the pioneer stage of paranormal, and we're still learning ourselves. I mean, I'm learning off Joe. Joe's got a lot more experience than I got at this. He got a lot more years on this than I do. So I'm learning a lot off Joe and other groups out here and other investigators and stuff. And I myself, I'm trying to put things together, and then I try to go to the religious side. I try to keep the religious side, and then I try to kind of mix a little bit of science into it and say, okay, I'm trying to figure this out. What is this? And I'm trying to help other people. Okay, give my opinion. This is what I think this might be. To help you out in your own home, to make you live a little bit more comfortable in your own home, so you're not scared of these things. I'm trying to help the kids out understand it. I mean, I'm really trying not to go in there and just scare everybody and say, like the individual said, I got an orb in here and I think it's demonic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to go that route. I'm actually trying to say, I believe there's something in here, but I don't believe it's, harmful or anything like that. And if it is something demonic, I'll turn it over to somebody else. Cause I ain't even staying in the same room with it. That's demonology. I ain't into demonology.
How do you all? Most people don't know that might be watching this, but I'm familiar with you. I've ghost hunted with you too, or whatnot. But how do you present the case to the client when when you get done with it? How do you go about telling them things without scaring somebody, or I guess it's just by the person, how they're going to handle it.
Yeah, you take it on an individual basis.
To what extent do you go to review all of your footage to where you're confident you're done reviewing it?
I will never walk into a client's home and tell them, it's demonic. Because I don't want to scare them to death. What I will do is I'll walk in, I'm going to say, here's our evidence. We got this, we got that, we got that. Now here's, if I think it's demonic, I'm not going to tell them that. But I'll say, here's what I think you should do. You need to contact the priest, whatever your religious faith is. You need to contact clergy, have them to come in and do a cleansing or whatever. Or I'll even do one myself, if that's what they want. But
will you do that?
yeah.